Georgia, Mr. Carter for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank all of you for being here today. I appreciate your attendance here, particularly you, Mayor Williams, a fellow Georgian. Thank you. And just full disclosure, I was a mayor in another life as well, so I appreciate your service and appreciate you being here from the great county of Fulton and the great city of Union City. I'm very familiar with it. Mr. Mayor, I wanted to ask you, you've had great praise for the American Rescue Fund and for the funds that it brought to our state. And I say our state because it's your state, my state, state of Georgia. But I haven't heard you say a whole lot about the fact that the state of Georgia, under our governor, Brian Kemp, that we were one of the first to reopen and that we were one of the ones who really never closed down completely. And I just want to ask you, with all due respect, how do you differentiate between the impact of the state reopening, allowing people to get back to work and to school, and the impact of the American Rescue Plan? I mean, how do you differentiate between those two?
Well, thank you. And certainly, no, I had not spoken about Georgia and certainly our great governor, Brian Kemp. And Georgia is a blue state now, for those who don't know that.
I beg your pardon?
Well, Georgia.
I'm talking about Georgia and the Southeast.
Yeah. But anyway, we're talking about Georgia in its entirety. But I did want to certainly say that Georgia was one of the first states to stay open. But it was a challenge for most of the communities in Georgia who had struggles with people who were not essential workers, people who didn't have public transit access. There were a number of factors as to why a lot of the folks that were employed and needed to get to work couldn't get to work, but also a lot of the jobs were shut down because of the pandemic. Certainly the state was still open, but a lot of people couldn't work. So, there were a lot of variables in that, Congressman, but we have to be focused on how do we get people to work in an open environment. Many of us were afraid because we didn't have the necessary health care, the necessary testing that needed to be done to get people to work, but also our schools were shut down. There was a big fight, as you know, in Georgia about schools being open, being closed. So that was a big challenge.
Mr. Mayor, again, and I don't mean to be confrontational here, but I'm afraid that we certainly disagree with red and blue, but nevertheless, I'm afraid we disagree with which one really, which one had the most impact and the most benefit here. I mean, opening early didn't cause the inflation that we're experiencing right now. It didn't cause the high need for employees that we're experiencing right now. I know in your city alone, I believe I've got the figures here that according to Indeed.com, a job search engine, there are 6,730 open restaurant jobs within 25 miles of Union City, Georgia. And it's all this money that was pumped into the economy, particularly by the American Rescue Plan, which in my opinion was not necessary. Now, there were programs that were necessary, programs that I voted for. The CARES Act, PPP program, EIDL, all of those were important. And they helped these people out, as you indicate. But the American Rescue Plan has resulted in the high inflation and the need for employees that we have right now. We've simply got too many dollars chasing after too few products right now. But opening up the economy, that is what helped us in the state of Georgia recover from this.
All due respect, you mentioned the CARES Act. The CARES Act did not help cities like my city. There were only 36, 37 big cities that received CARES Act funds. The CARES Act funding went to the county, Fulton County.
Okay, but
certainly that was a challenge we had in having discussions with
the Fulton County had the ability to have it designated to you as well in the city.
Well, let me tell you, that was a
I understand.
Okay.
I'm familiar with Fulton County. Enough said.
Okay.
But when we talk about the American Rescue Plan, all I've heard you say is that you were able to finish a Greenway Trail. I mean, was
not
that
finished? Not finished.
Not finished.
No, I didn't
Still
say
not
finished.
finished?
Yeah, I didn't say finish a Greenway Trail. It has allowed us to be able to move forward with the creation and implementation of a Greenway Trail. It is helping us to be able to create recreational outlets for our community. We're not finished with it.
Well, certainly that's important. I get it.
Yeah.
I was a mayor too. And I
Yeah.
understand that recreational trails are important to the life of the community, but I would submit that it's not important enough to where the federal government needs to be sending dollars down there that's going to result in inflation. And what we see now in the need of employees and businesses struggling like they're struggling in my district and the 1st Congressional District along the coast of Georgia.
Gentleman's time has expired.
Mr. Chairman, thank you, and I'll yield back.